Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Cambry. My husband Herbert and I live a debt-free nomadic life. In this episode, this is my second episode of how we got here. In my first episode, I explained how we purchased our RV and our ultimate movement of it to some stationary land in the area that we still lived in. Now, today I'm going to talk about living on that land, as well as its challenges, the things that we learned, the good and the bad. So let's just go ahead and delve right into it. So I ended last time, I believe I was talking about the day that Herbert moved our RV while I was at work, and we began our full-time stationary life. We stayed on that land approximately 10 or 11 months, I can't remember exactly. In that time, we learned a lot of great things. A lot of the pros of staying on that land was our rent had gone down tremendously. I think, now this was in 2017, at that time we were paying, I want to say about $1,200 or $1,300 a month for a 3-bedroom house. And when we moved to the land, it went to, I believe it was $500 a month, and that was paying for the electricity that we used, as well as our water usage. Now, she was not fully set up to have a full-time tenant there. There was not sewage, so once every week to 2 weeks, we had to unhook our RV, and we had to go and dump the tanks, the gray water and the black water. Now, if you're not familiar with what that is, black water would be anything that comes from the toilets, and gray water is anything that comes from the shower or the sinks, which was really good because it gave us an opportunity to drive the RV and get familiar with it. Now, as I said in the previous video, my work was about 20 minutes drive away from where this property was. So I was still working full-time in the laboratory that I worked in. That was really wonderful because every day I would leave work, I was going home and I was camping. And, you know, we were living in a smaller space. Our RV was 35 feet long, and we learned how to live on a smaller scale. So there was a smaller kitchen, closet space, all of those things. Prior to moving out into the RV, again, we were in a 3-bedroom house, so we scaled everything down, and then on the property, we scaled down even more. It was interesting. We had to learn how to cook in a smaller kitchen with not as much counter space. We were only feeding the 2 of us. We definitely had a smaller refrigerator, so that was kind of a con as well, because we like to bulk shop, and that became a little bit more difficult being in a smaller RV as opposed to a 3-bedroom house where we had 2 refrigerators. It was really an enjoyable learning experience. Now, one thing that we did learn pretty rapidly, especially as the winter started coming, we learned about keeping your propane tank full because we did wake up one morning in January and our propane had run out and we were freezing. We were freezing. It was so cold. Another thing that we did learn mechanically was it's kind of like the motherboard of the entire electrical system, and it's generally located underneath your refrigerator. That motherboard went out, and I say this as a learning experience because we paid a mobile mechanic to come out and repair that. I think it cost us around $400 for them to come out and fix it. A couple of RVs later, in a completely different state, we had something very similar happen, and we replaced it on our own. We did not spend $400 the second time that we had to take care of a similar issue. Living on that property, it was really wonderful. I mean, we were on 37 acres right on the lake. Every day after work, especially in the summertime, We would load up. We had kayaks at the time. We would load up, go fishing. I had made a post and took a picture of our setup, and I had said something to the effect of daily camping is only interrupted by daily work, you know? And I knew I was loving that lifestyle. It was fabulous and wonderful. Now, in my first video, I spoke about this numbness, this dying inside of the 9 to 5. I decided that even though we were living stationary and not traveling as much, we did take a few trips in that time frame that we were there. I still had the nomadic itch. I still wanted to hit the road. I mean, the first few months, I was better. I was happy to go home to a place that wasn't a house with neighbors, and you know, it was wonderful. But I still had that itch to leave. Now, when I say we went on trips, I refer to a trip that we took down to the coast. We drove just the RV. We had no extra vehicle. We spent the entire time on the coast fishing. We obviously like to fish. just living for free on a beach. And, you know, a couple times we left and we drove to Walmart, or we decided one night, okay, we're going to go and pay for an actual hookup site so we could kind of have a sense of normalcy as far as we were accustomed to being plugged in. At one point, while we were on the beach, we had a flat tire, so I had to kind of get into my resources and found somebody locally that could come out and change and repair the tire for us. Again, a lot of learning experiences when you're full-timing in an RV, whether or not you're traveling or you are stationary. I've kind of touched on the topics of what it's like to live, you know, smaller, stationary, still having the ability to unhook and drive your house to a beautiful location while you still have your 9 to 5 job. This was before COVID, so like working from home and all of that was not an option. Our next leap is when we decided that we wanted to leave our full-time jobs, and we had saved up enough money. We had paid off enough debt at that point because we were saving money from not paying as much rent, and we didn't have any of the electric, water, trash. We didn't have any of those bills. And with Herbert and I making a decent amount of money, we were able to pay off debt and save a good amount of money. We finally got to a point that we were ready to take that leap. And in the next episode, I'm going to talk about when we quit our jobs and when we started heading west. So, again, if you like this type of content, you know, please give us a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.